Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, it's a great pleasure to invite you all here for the fourth session of Commerce 101. As I'm sure you all know, Commerce 101 is a project which includes workshops and seminar series organized by the Students Association of Commerce, organized by of the Department of Commerce and Financial Management. With the intention of continuous development of commerce undergraduates, today we are stepping into session 1.3, current fiscal policy operations during the COVID-19 pandemic period in Sri Lanka. Our resource person for the day is Dr. Kapila Senanayake, Director General, Department of Fiscal Policy of the General Treasury, who has 12 years of experience in fiscal policy operations. As well, he holds a Master of Public Policy and a Doctor of Philosophy in Economics. Dr. Senanayake has also represented the Treasury on boards of several key state-owned enterprises and strategy boards. Currently, he is serving the boards of National Savings Bank, Institute of Policy Studies, and Board of Investment of Sri Lanka. So today, our guest of honor, Dr. Kapila Senanayake, it's your time to take the floor.
Thank you, Himali. So for this sake of quality, should I stop the video?
Yes, sure, sir.
Right, okay, thank you. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can see the screen.
Right. First of all, I would like to thank Senior Lecturer Mrs. Samaratunga for giving this opportunity to talk to you today on fiscal intervention during the pandemic. I think today is a memorable day of my life since this is the first lecture that I am delivering for the undergrads at Kelaniya Uni. Before coming to today's topic, I would like to leave a short message as usual, because I think that is important for undergraduates. That what I believe is don't give up and learn from your mistakes. So that's my short message. The pandemic has stolen millions' lives around the world, disrupting socio-economic systems and livelihood. As said today, new variants have also emerged, as you know, and it remains unclear when the pandemic will end. What would be the full impact? Most of countries, including Sri Lanka, various measures have been implemented, such as declaration of curfews and lockdowns, provisions of essential medical equipment, and provision of cash allowances for the needy. With the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, economies also have implemented various policies, including monetary, fiscal, regulatory, and administrative policies to mitigate the ramification effect of the pandemic. Among them, I think fiscal policy actions become very important, as you know. As such, the government has intervened to assist entrepreneurs, working community, and the vulnerable segments of the society to minimize the adverse effect triggered by COVID pandemic. The fiscal responses depends on the fiscal space available and magnitude of the effects of the pandemic. I think as undergraduates, you may have learned theories of fiscal policy and all these things. As you already know that Sri Lanka's fiscal space has been deteriorated sharply due to the decline in revenue and also the increase in expenditure over the years. When you look at our debt to, look at our revenue to GDP ratios in 1990s, it was 20%. Now it has declined to half. Sri Lanka's income has always below the potential levels over the years. This sort of legendary effect has impact to the responses. Responses are much broader. It depends on the economic situation of the countries and also the capacities. Fiscal responses can be divided into 4 measures. One is immediate relief package for the vulnerable, that is expenditure side measures. Then the revenue side measures, that is tax rate cuts or the narrow the tax bases. Could you please hold for a while? Hello.
Yes, sure.
Sorry for the interruptions. The revenue side measures, that is, I explained about the tax rate cuts and also the tax deferrals or tax waive off. The third one is liquidity support measures such as debt moratoria given to entrepreneurs. And the fourth one is macro level measures taken to revive economic activities such as import restrictions of non-essential commodities such as motor vehicles and also the other luxury items. So government has accelerated infrastructure drive of the country in order to revive economic activities and create employment that would benefit the augment the aggregate demand of the country. In terms of monetary policy side interventions, government slash policy rate cuts as well. So I'm not going to give you all these details. So with that, I will be going to the next slide. This is just for the sake of your knowledge. Fiscal policy has been defined in various terms and various people. This is the very simple definition. Fiscal policy is the use of government revenue, expenditure, and if there is a deficit, it means expenditure exceed revenue, then there's a deficit, then you have the financing, and to financing, then you will accumulate debt. So managing all these difficult items is the fiscal policy. So that's a very simple definition. Those are the objective of the fiscal policy. First one is macroeconomic stabilization. Second one, promote inclusive and sustainable growth. Third one, income distribution and social safety nets. Provision of public goods and public investments. Regulation of activities and also the market if there is a market failure. Then the management of externalities if there is a pollution. So how can fiscal policy be implemented? For example, we can implement environment tax. So those are the key objectives of the fiscal policy. I hope as a third year students, you may have learned all these things. So this is the actually top. I will now go into the today's topic, that is COVID-19 and fiscal policy. So impact of the pandemic on fiscal policy can be mainly categorized to mainly two items. First one is government has granted fiscal support to manage the pandemic, and in terms of provisions of necessary expenditure on health and other key sectors. The second one is livelihood support. I think you have experience of this cash grants and also the tax relief. The other means is the liquidity measures. It means credit schemes, or some the government can help to improve the cash flow of the entrepreneurs. The other broad measure is economic revival measures. That is that government can intervene to increase the aggregate demand of the economy by accelerating infrastructure development. The other part is impact of fiscal support. So it definitely has adverse impact to the revenue, and also the expenditure will increase, and also the if expenditure exceeds revenue, then you have the fiscal deficit, so it becomes larger. Then you have a debt burdens. I think I don't want to explain this theoretical background. So this very simple equation. I think GDP equals to consumption, investment plus export minus imports. So fiscal policy affects GDP through government consumption and also the investment, and indirectly also affect with the private consumption. As you experience these days, now we have expansionary fiscal policies, that is government expenditure increase as well as also the reduction in taxes. So this will increase the demand in the economy. So in terms of fiscal support to manage the pandemic, as I explained earlier, various policy measures have been adopted by countries depending on their income and also the financial position. For example, the US got USD 1 trillion rescue plan since their revenue to GDP is larger and they spend more. But low-income countries like ours have limited fiscal space, which has restricted us to borrow with high risk rates. So there is an impact as well. So with this expansionary fiscal measures, it also has a kind of impact to the economy. So I think I would like to give you some international experience how fiscal support has been given and what are the implications of that. For example, you can see that Sri Lanka and some red, the highlighted in red, are the space given, fiscal space given to less than 2.5%. So it's an additional expenditure or revenue foregone. And this, the green color like US and Australia, you can see that their support is more than 88% to 10%. So it's very large. So that's why I said it depends on the income level of countries. This chart also shows the fiscal support given to pandemic in advanced economies, emerging economies, and low-income developing countries. Then you can see that advanced countries have more responses than the low-income countries. So this is the vaccination program given to the population as in different countries. I have chosen Singapore. They have 60%. That's our target in future. But Sri Lanka, as you can see, is about 20%. I think we hope to increase this to 60% in due course. This is also for your knowledge. I think I don't have much time to explain this in detail. For example, American Rescue Plan totaling about USD 5.2 trillion. So it's very large amount. For example, they have given 1,400 per person for low or middle income working families. And they have this child tax credit and also the child care assistance, all these things. When you look at our neighbor India, they have also the fiscal support is about 3.5% of GDP. So they use in-kind transfers such as food, cooking gas as well, and also the cash transfers. In addition, they have given some fertilizer subsidy allocation and also the postponing some tax filing and other tax relief for businesses and also the individual. This is the, I think, due to this fiscal side, because of the government revenue expenditure, you can see that around the world you have increased fiscal deficit. For example, even China, they have deficit of 11% in 2020. Russia got the very the narrowed one, 4.1%. India, 12.3%. Sri Lanka, 11.1% in 2020. This year, we would like to have 9.5% of GDP of fiscal deficit. Same as this, if the increase of fiscal deficit is as a implication to increase the debt stock of the countries. For example, even USA's debt stock is 127%, Sri Lanka 101%, India's 89.6%, China 66.8%, for the Malaysia about 67.8%. So almost all countries, they have reported high debts. In terms of GDP, almost all countries, they have reported a contraction of economic activities. The only exception is China. They have reported a positive economic growth. In terms of fiscal responses, total COVID-related direct expenditure would be around 262 billion. That is about 1.7% of GDP. This figure is as this expenditure include cash grants given to vulnerable people, and also some expenditure relating to quarantine process, health infrastructure, and also the support for agriculture, and also some of the infrastructure development related to COVID-19 measures. And also in 2021, we have allocated 92 billion for vaccination program. So with that, we can accomplish 60% target. Sri Lanka's responses to COVID, I think I already explained earlier as well. One of the measures is tax relief measure. Even every country, they reduce taxes and they narrow the tax bases, and almost all countries has given this concession. So there is no exemption for Sri Lanka as well. But one thing I have to highlight here is that in Sri Lanka, in November 2019, government has introduced tax reform package. With that, nation building tax, economic service charge, and debt repayment levy have been abolished. And also there's a rate cut for VAT from 15% to 8%. And individual tax relief has also increased to 500,000 to 3 million. This is a very large concession. And also the corporate tax rate has reduced to 24% from 28%. So in that sense, the government didn't want to implement any other tax relief for Sri Lanka to combat with COVID, because in 2019, so the government has introduced this system in order to simplify tax system as well as the achieve transparency in tax collection. So this package has worked as the fiscal package to combat or respond to COVID. For your sake, I would like to give this increase of slabs of 600,000 to 3 million. For example, you can see that tax rate prior to January 2020, we have rates from 4 to 24%. Now it has changed to 6 to 18% with these 3 slabs. So for this is, I think I have made a mistake. This is 3 million, and next one also this would be 3 million. Sorry for my mistakes here. And when you look at the corporate income tax, it's also reduced to 24%. And I think you may have read our budget 2021 report, budget speech. So with that, we have exempted CIT payment from agro-farming, IT, and export of gem and jewelry, local sale of gem and jewelry, and also the local sales of gem and jewelry, healthcare, construction, agro-processing industries have been slashed to 14%, the reduced rate from 28%. However, manufacturing industry also reduced to 18% from 28%. This one I would like to further explain this tax concession. Concession rate of income tax, that is 14% given to healthcare services, and also the export company which is registered with the BOI in respect of health protective equipment, similar products supplied to prescribed government agencies to manage the pandemic. In addition, we have given value added tax, ports and airports development levy, and also the cess levy for the importation, supply and donation of health related equipment. So in that regard, we have also some sort of revenue foregone, which is also the which is considered as the fiscal responses to the pandemic. This is also the ports and airports development levy exemption for the importation of health related equipment. With regard to other measures that we have implemented over the during the COVID period, one is we have written off some of the tax arrears, especially for SME sectors, because they were so vulnerable in paying taxes, especially for the assessment year of 2018-2019, and also we haven't issued additional income assessment for the year of assessment 2019-2020, and also the no interest has been charged on the payments of due and payable during the period this March to September 2020, and also the filing in the income tax returns and making in payments for the year of assessment 2019-2020 has been allowed up to the date of is an extension up to the mid 2021. Those are the direct tax exemption granted for the responses to the pandemic. And to accommodate all these things, we have amended the Income Tax Act number 20 of 2017 and also the value added tax. Meanwhile, now finance bill has been sent to the Parliament to table. With that, we have introduced tax for undisclosed money with the payment of 1%, and also some other parties, the kind of waivers for tax arrears. And also the government is going to introduce special goods and services tax in due course for 5 commodities that is liquor, motor vehicles, tobacco, and betting and gaming and telecommunications sector. So to simplify that sector, for example, I think you may have already known that if you take the motor vehicle tax, there are three taxes. One is excise duty, the other one is luxury motor vehicle tax, the other one is motor vehicle entitlement levy. So we have three taxes for one commodity. So government would try to have this one tax instead of three taxes to simplify the tax system. So I think today is not my topic to talk about this monetary policy measures, but I think you may have seen that there is a policy rate cuts to SDFR to 4.50 and a standard lending facility to 5.50, and also the reduction of statutory reserve ratio. This is for just for your sake. And this is what I'm going to talk to now, impact of pandemic and the increased fiscal support on the fiscal position. So these are the major COVID hit sectors of the economy. First one is export sector and the tourism sector, and also the private consumption and investment. And you can see that we experience high fiscal deficit and also the increased debt to GDP ratio to 101% from 86.7% in 2020. And you can see that there is a large impact of the informal sector losing of their day-to-day income activities. You can see in your sometimes village areas, also in urban areas as well. So when you look at this GDP, you can see over the years we haven't had good sound economic achievement, especially from 2013 onwards. From, for example, 2015 GDP was 5%. It has declined to 2.3% in 2019. Then there is a contraction by 3.6% in 2020. When you look at this quarterly GDP, it indicates that adverse reaction of the economy to the pandemic. The drastic contraction of economies reflected in the second part of 2020 with a contraction of 16.4%. And however, when you look at the third quarter and fourth quarter, we see that there is a positive economic growth of 1.3%. So because of this release of countrywide restriction, the imposed on mitigate the pandemic, and when you look at the first part of 2021, the GDP was 4.3%. It's very encouraging factor. So then you can see that COVID has really impacted on the economic growth when you look at the second part of 2020. So inflation also in the beginning of COVID time in March 2020, we have lesser inflation, but now you can see that with the opening of other countries, there is a uptick in inflation. Interest rates also slashed to nearly 5 to 4.5%. You can see that because of government, the central bank monetary policy measures. And however, unemployment has increased to 5.5% in 2020 compared to 4.8% in 2019. And there's an impact to the gross official reserves. So as at June 2020-21, our gross official reserves stood at USD 4 billion compared to 4.8 billion in January 2021. When you look at this government revenue over the years, as I explained earlier, so in 2006, revenue to GDP ratio was 17.3%, and now you can see there is a continuous decline. Now it becomes 9 to 10% of GDP. In terms of absolute figures, in 2020, revenue was 1,373 billion. This is similar in 2015 figure. This is also just the implication of government revenue. So in terms of tax revenue as well as non-tax revenue. In 2020, our tax revenue was 1,200 level and non-tax revenue was 150. This shows also the government tax revenue over the years. Now it has, in 2020, it has increased, it has declined to 8%. However, it will improve in 2020 with these new reforms in terms of tax collection as well as tax administration. With regard to income tax revenue, we have corporate and non-corporate taxes, and also the payee taxes. Earlier we had economic service charge and tax on interest. When you look at the first half of 2021, there is a 10% revenue increase compared to the first half of 2020 figures. In terms of tax and non-tax revenue, almost 80% belongs to non-tax revenue. Only about 20% is the tax revenue. So there should be a reform there in order to increase our tax revenue. This gives you just understanding about the monthly tax revenue. This blue line is the 2019, and you can see 2020 monthly revenue there is a decline, especially due to this COVID pandemic. However, when you look at the 2021 data, the middle one, you can see that there is a increase in revenue. Non-tax revenue also there is a decline over the years because of still economic activities have not fully started in especially the in terms of collecting fees and charges. However, you can see from June onwards, there is a increase in non-tax revenue as well. You can see there is a high bump here in February because of receive of profit from central bank. This is the summary of the fiscal operation in 2020 and also the 2021 this year. This is we have given total revenue for 1,951 billion, of which about 36% have been achieved. That is about 710 billion. You can see that there is an increase in income tax as well as domestic consumption-based taxes such as VAT, liquor, cigarette, and also the import-based taxes such as import duty, PAL, SCS, SCL, and cess. However, there is a decline in non-tax revenue. We hope during the course of period, this would be also increased as anticipated. For that, the vaccination program is very important. I thought that I would give you this summarize figures of tax mobilization by revenue collecting agencies. For example, Indian Revenue Department, you can see the difference between estimate as well as achievement. This is the Department of Excise, the estimated versus achievement, and also when you look at deviation from estimated versus actual. In terms of expenditure, there is also there's a decline in expenditure in 2020 compared to 2019. However, there should be a rationalization of expenditure in terms of recurrent expenditure, especially the salaries and wages, interest payments for loans, and also the subsidies and transfers. So this is the fiscal deficit over the period of time. In 2020, we have 11.1%. 21, it would decline to, it will decline to 4.1% of GDP. So you can see that total debt increase over the years. And this is what I want to highlight is the vaccination program is very important to resumption of economic activities. As you see in my slide, there is a impact, there is a adverse impact of fiscal operation due to the COVID. And on the other hand, continuation of fiscal stimulation package has a long run economic impact. So I think it would be normalized during the next period of time. And also the public investment is key to revive economic activities, because this investment is this very important to spur economic growth of our country. Those are my actually main highlight. I hope you grab something out of my presentation. So I want to repeat that: learn from mistakes and do not give up. Thank you very much. If you have any queries or concern, you could email to Senior Professor Mrs. Amratunga. So I will help to answer all these queries as the time permits. Thank you very much for having me today. And again, I would like to thank Mrs. Samatunga for giving this great opportunity to share our thoughts with undergrads. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Senanayake. I think there is an appreciation message also from our students. So please stay for that as well. Thank you very much for the, all the informations you shared are actually very important to us, because we don't get all these things in printed form. So I think the students enjoyed really. So please wait for the appreciation message.
No worries. Thank you very much. And I greatly appreciate it.
Ishani, how about the thanking message?
Yes, 1 minute, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we have come to end of our today's session, and I'm here to present a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have taken part in this event. I would like to thank our guest speaker, Dr. Kapila Senanayake, for enlightening us with your knowledge. I'm sure today's session was full of knowledge and it gave deep insights into the topic. I would also like to thank all our lecturers and all the students who worked hard to make this successful. And thank you everyone for presenting here and paying your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Senanayake. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Dr. Senanayake, can we get the presentation uploaded?
Yeah, I'll email you.
Yes, yes. If you can, that will be wonderful, because the stuff you gave, the data especially, we don't get all these things, so it's really important. So that will be a very, very precious thing for us. Thank you very much.
And also, and also I would like to have your undergrads comments, because I just I don't know whether I was so fast because of this time consideration.
Yes.
My apologies for that. I think we can discuss later.
Yes, definitely. I think you gave a very clear understanding about the fiscal policies and how you operate in the treasury. So that is a very good experience to the students because they all learn the theoretical background but not the practical side. So it's really important, and I think they learned a lot from you. So definitely their feedback will be, very interesting. And definitely we will let you know the outcome of this lecture. And with all your workload, I know that it's very difficult for you to participate in such programs. Thank you so much once again. And I hope you will send us the presentation. You will email us then. If you can do it to me, then I can distribute with the others as well. Yes, thank you very much. Then have a nice day. Stay safe.
You too.
And of course, you are getting students' feedback. If you go to the chat box, you can see they are really appreciating your effort. And I also would like to appreciate you. So I think this was a very successful session and we got a lot knowledge, and thank you very much. So we are getting a good comment. So we are really happy and appreciating your efforts. So thank you very much.
I think all are appreciating.
Right.
So
Yeah, thank you very much.
I also welcome that comment as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, then you can leave. Yes, thank you so much. Okay.
Then Rasanjana, shall we then wind up?
Okay, madam.